Thank you so much for joining us today for the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. Here on the Pastor's Potluck, it's similar to a normal potluck where you might get something that you want and there may be something that you just want to pass up altogether. And that's okay. There's something here for everybody. Our goal here is to encourage you and maybe in the process entertain you. If you're ready, let's dig in. Well, hello, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. We're catching up today with Pastor Cheryl. If you remember our conversation, goodness, it's been 8 weeks?
At least, because, well, maybe longer, maybe like 9, because I was out because my husband had COVID and
oh yeah, that's right.
all that before. So yeah,
so
it's been a while.
So we're following up with her because she recently just came back from her sabbatical. And we had a really, really good conversation just to kind of catch everybody up on what a sabbatical is for us, just in our little employee handbooks, as long as you are in good standing, but you have worked here for 7 years, you're able to take 6 weeks off. And 5.
But I added vacation time.
Yeah. And just kind of take that time to recharge and kind of relax and kind of focus on family, focus on yourself, and all those things. So you're back. I mean, I know you've been back in the New York groove.
Oh, yeah, see, I was going a totally different way, but that's okay.
Have you ever heard that song? Back in the New York
I think you asked me that the other day, but I'm horrible with songs, so I really hope that's not a song question in there that we pull out today. But
no, like a music question. I'll throw it back in there in our mystery meet if it's but yes, you're back. Welcome back. It's been good having you back here and seeing you. I think the first thing that I did whenever I saw you is I made a short person joke.
Yep, you sure did, and that's okay.
I was like, we had to get right back into it.
I enjoyed it. It had been too long without one. Yeah, so I did enjoy it actually.
That's funny. Well, it's good to have you back. So let's talk. How was sabbatical? How was it for you overall? Like, how was it?
It was fantastic. Really. It was really, really good. I know we talked and I said, I'm starting with 2 weeks at the beach to help me get out of work mode as fast as possible and into relax mode. And it was definitely the right choice. Absolutely the right choice. Somebody had sent my husband a message couple days in and I couldn't even think of the answer, even if I should answer because I literally had already checked out. I had done all the things. I deleted all the social media apps and all that from my phone. And I was just like, my brain's blank. I don't know. Yeah. And so that was really good and a lot of fun. We had perfect weather while we were down there for both weeks. And so we got to go, I took Carter and Esme out basically every day. Anthony got to stay in a lot with Anakin. Plus it was kind of a working trip for him. Yeah. Because all the sickness we'd had leading up to that. Oh goodness. So he had taken a lot of time off work, but it never failed that Anakin would pass out on us right when we were getting ready to go out. So I would take the older ones out and he'd come out later, but that part was awesome. And then I was really looking forward to the kids being in daycare and stuff while during the daytime, so that way I could have time for myself, time to do things without them. I love them, but I need that time. So
well, you were able to accomplish a lot of things at your house as well.
Yeah.
Whenever you came back, you're like, all right, or I think it was maybe towards the end of it, you're like, I kind of broke my social media fast, but I just need to get rid of this stuff. Can I bless somebody or does somebody want to give me some money for this?
Yeah, I did. I just logged on there. I told them to message me, not comment because I wasn't getting back on a check. But I just had to get it out of the house. But yeah, so the first week back from the beach, though, Esme's class was closed. But so that was really nice because she's the middle child.
Yeah.
And the only girl. And so like sometimes, last year where Carter would have homework that we would spend time with him doing that. And then Anakin was still a lot younger.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time focused on him. So she was feeling a lot of that middle child stuff beforehand. So it was really awesome for us to have some time together that week, just me and her.
Yeah.
And so I took her to the pool like 4 times, which was great. And then after that, just my first week without any kids, like the first couple of days, I did nothing except for watch shows and lay on the couch.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but it was great. And so I did get to bless somebody with the crib and dresser that we were getting rid of. And so that was cool. Got organization done. We are totally caught up on laundry for the first time in a very long time.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. It was good to do. And God spoke a lot into me during that time. And it was good.
Yeah. I think one of the things that most people don't realize is the importance of making sure that, just because ministry weighs so heavily on pastors, because we celebrate like really high highs with birth of children, marriages, seeing people, come to salvation. Maybe someone that has been saved for a little while, and we get to see them grow in like some kind of leadership capacity here at the church. And those are like really, really high points for us, but also like the lows are extremely low for us because what a normal person would go through, you may deal with maybe like somebody close to you, like passing away maybe once every 18 months to 2 years around that time, and that's if you're fortunate enough to let it go that long. But we meet people's needs whenever like a family member or a loved one passes away multiple times a year, or if somebody comes down with sickness, we're just trying to do our best to minister to them. There's constant needs that pop up with recovery warriors and wanting to bless or go out of our way to help somebody that just checked in, and that's like only the clothes on their back. That's like those things weigh on us because we're like, oh, I wouldn't be able to fully comprehend or understand like everything that I've ever had in my life like is gone, and now I'm trying to get my life together, and all I've got is the clothes I have on. Yeah. Like they don't even have a suitcase. Right. And so we're trying to like meet their needs. And so that it does weigh heavily on us. And so the importance of taking that time to make sure that we are mentally strong. It takes a very special person to be in ministry, and I don't want to dissuade anybody from feeling that calling in their life, but
it's definitely a calling.
Correct.
If it's not a true calling, you're not going to last no matter what.
Correct.
You do. And that's one thing. I read an article right at the start, or maybe while we were driving to the beach, that said, and it's not even just those high highs and those low lows, it's that it can switch like so fast. Yeah. And we're right up there, like ministry leaders, pastors are right up there along with like doctors and like police and first responders as far as how that goes, that quickness and the mental toll that it takes. Yeah. And so just even regularly making sure that you're taking time to unplug, taking time to really like put it aside and focus on your family, on you and whatever. Cause I know like right at the start, I had to miss 2 funerals and I was so bummed and sad about that. Because it was 2 people that really had meant a lot and were integral people, especially even starting out in ministry. I know, like Carol was someone that I really looked up to and went to a lot, and she helped do a lot of different things, like counsel people at times, and just missing that was sad for me. But I also knew like I couldn't just change plans at the drop of a hat, but you have that where it's like, I was so excited. Like we just got off VBS,
Yeah.
and all that. And then, oh my gosh, like there are 2 deaths and you have 2 funerals and those things. And so like you have that extreme things that happen and making sure that you are taking care of yourself and doing those things. And I'll say, personally, I didn't schedule a whole lot of anything during sabbatical because I wanted to just create space to do something if we felt like doing something, or to not do something.
If you felt like not doing something.
Exactly. And so, I mean, some people will do it like really structured and things. And, but I just really sought God for, a lot of personal rejuvenation and guidance and things while I was gone. And man, like night 1, Anakin woke me up from a dream where God had just shared something with me, and I won't go into all the details yet, but God really spoke to me in that dream, and I woke up like tears already. Like I was crying in my dream, but when I woke up, I was also crying because it was just something that he just really spoke into my soul and my spirit, like to confirm my calling. Really was what it was. And it was like, if nothing else had happened during that whole sabbatical, that night, that dream was worth it for me. And it'll give me, what I need to keep going and to just come back to that moment anytime that I start feeling like, oh, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Like, this is crazy. This is too hard. Like, you have those moments. And so, it was really special for me to just be able to have that moment alone, but all the other times.
Yeah. I don't want to go into like too many details because I think that will be something that you share in due time, but you don't have like a hidden affinity for like magic or anything like that. You're not going to become like a magic preacher where you're like, look, let me pull this rabbit.
Magic tricks while I preach.
Well, we pull this rabbit out of your hat.
But it was funny because you're saying that. And I was like, well, I did read some books that had to do with people doing magic, but not magic tricks, but like magic as in like, whatever.
Sleight of hand
but anyway, but so that was funny. I was like, where's he going with this? Did he look at my Kindle? Like,
No.
But no, yeah, I don't think that will ever happen. I am probably not good with sleight of hand things. So.
God's probably, if I ever go on sabbatical, God's going to be like, hey, you need to be a stand-up comedian, pastor.
Yes.
It's just like something like, I just like enjoy making people laugh, but I don't know that it'll ever happen. I can't write jokes like most people, like what you would expect.
No, but you're really good on the fly.
On the fly.
Goofy, silly things.
Yeah,
so,
I can't.
I love it.
I think it would feel too forced,
You're the singing pastor. Isn't that your thing?
So where is this at? So it's some social media site or no, it's on our messaging app on Slack. So everybody can put their title or whatever. And so my title is the singing preacher.
Yes, that's what it is.
So that's what it is.
Yep.
I'm the singing preacher at Southridge.
If you don't know, and I don't know if you've done it on many podcasts or anything, if you don't know, I hang out with him a lot. Like Pastor Jared is really good about just like singing what he wants to say. Like, and it's fun because you feel like in those moments, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm in a real life musical or something. So I just want him to break out and dance too. And then that'll absolutely make it better.
My goal is just to see how hard I can make Pastor Anna laugh, because she's always like, okay, what kind of random like line can I sing?
Oh my gosh.
Nobody else appreciates it. I guess like you and Pastor Anna like
I don't know if you ever heard me this morning with Carter, but
I did hear you. I was like, it's like,
oh man,
it's starting to take root here on the staff, and I swear one of these days it's going to be so much.
We are just all going to break out, and it will be like a real life musical. We just need a camera crew for that moment to like follow us around. It'll be awesome.
It'll be.
I mean, Pastor Scott can break out his show choir stuff.
I don't know that yeah. I just need to leave it at that. He's going to listen to this and he's going to be like, I was never a tree in my show, in my musicals or whatever, but it's all good. So you get done with your sabbatical. That was like the greatest rabbit trail of all times, by the way.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. So you get done with sabbatical. You've had an amazing time of rest, rejuvenation, able to spend quality time with your kids, able to spend quality time with Anthony, your husband. It's day one. You gotta come back to work. Like,
well, it was interesting coming back actually, because I came back during camp meeting week. So that was like,
yeah,
totally different. But
so your sabbatical was actually 7 weeks.
Yeah. And then if you include the COVID week, then that's like 8 weeks. I mean, and then if you include GLS, well, whatever. But I'm back. I don't have any trips. I don't have any trips at the moment. No, actually, what's funny is that it's like our first week at the beach, and I get a message from Jenny saying, "Hey," like it's a screenshot, and it's Craig Rochelle from Life Church saying that they want to equip pastors, and if you want a free ticket to GLS, use this code if you're a pastor.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Did you sign up?" And she's like, "Sure did," in faith. And I'm like, "Well, sign me up too." And then I look at the dates and I'm like, "Oh man, that's like 2 weeks after I get back." Well, then I wasn't thinking it's really like the first week in office back because of camp meeting. And I was like, well, that's okay, because I didn't get to go to Drive in May because we had the flu. So this is my conference and it'll be all right. But yeah, I actually did not quite plan that. But yeah, so camp meeting rolls around, and well, the Sunday before that, I was like, can I just come in at 11 to like ease our way back in? Because I didn't really have anything going on that morning. And I was like, my kids are not going to get up that early to get ready and go. But actually Anakin, of course, like my first week back, gets sick because that's just the nature of the beast. And, but he was fine. I don't know. He was fine. Just snottiness and things. And it wasn't COVID. It wasn't an ear infection. It wasn't anything to worry about. So the doctor said,
that's good news.
Yes. Yeah. So, we go through camp meeting. I have ladies' day that I'm speaking at, but like, that Sunday, Pastor Jess is like, my computer is done. It's dead. Like, it won't come on at all. I need a computer for camp meeting. I'm like, take mine. So then I'm like, oh, wait, that means I can't actually get any work done myself.
Yeah.
And so it really was more like an 8-week sabbatical, which I mean, apparently is fine because Pastor Scott kept saying, see you in 8 weeks. So I guess that was the plan all along. I don't know. But the first day in office was after camp meeting, and it's that Monday. And I'm like, I'm so excited to just be back and be around everybody. And I'm a people person, an extrovert, and like, love all the things. And so it was kind of hard at times because I'm like, I just want to go hang out with somebody. And I did do a couple lunches with people, but it was more just like friend and catching up. It wasn't like ministering or whatever. But it was meeting day, all day meeting day.
Yeah.
Like all day meeting day. We had a break for lunch. That was it. And I have never been so tired. Because I said that, like, nobody prepared me for that, like, to not be used to actually like being around people and doing the meetings and doing that, like from not doing that for so long to all of a sudden like a full day of it was like, okay, I'm ready for bed. It's 6:00, but I'm ready. I don't even want dinner. I just want to go to bed. And
it's one of those things that you almost like kind of forget, like how extremely productive we are as a church, and taking that amount of time off, which is, like I said, super beneficial. But then coming back into it, you're like, oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And then like there's a level of, I started working out while on sabbatical. That was one of my goals, was to start going to the gym and do it regularly. So that way it would be easier to do when I came back to work. And so that added like another level of tired in there, where I was like, good. Oh, I'm getting up early. I'm going to work out, and then I'm coming to work, and then I'm doing all this. And then I'm like, yep, 7:30 last night. I was done. I was ready for bed.
Yeah.
But had to stay awake and do the things with the kids and the stuff and bedtime
and the dishes.
all the things as a parent. And, you know, so anyway, but it's really good to be back. Like, I saw Belinda for the first time on Sunday when she was training some new first impressions team members, and they're complete new people to me. Like, I have never seen these people.
Yeah.
But she's walking down the hallway and she sees me and she's like, Cheryl. And I'm like, Belinda. And like, we hug and we're like, it's so good to see you. And all this. And these people are just kind of hanging out there. And then I'm like, well, hello. You probably haven't met me, but I'm Pastor Cheryl. And
Do you want to hug?
You know, I'm like handshaking. There's this cute little 4-year-old girl named Rory. And I'm like, but I guessed her age right because she's 4, like Esme's 4, and I just knew it. And anyway, so we hit it off. Me and Rory hit it off. And then there's the next couple with Jackson, and I think he thought I was nuts.
Yeah. But
that's okay, because I probably did seem a little nuts because I was just really excited. I was excited to be here, excited to meet people, excited to do the things, you know.
So no nerves whatsoever. It was just like more excitement.
Yeah, it was more exciting. I just ready to get back. Actually, so Anthony jumped on me like the week before coming back because I had hopped on to like check something on registrations for the ladies' day at camp, and he was like, "What are you doing? That's work." I'm like, "No, it's not really, because it's camp meeting. It's different. It's not really work. It's not for the church." And so he's like, okay. And my mom was there, and my mom was like, she's just ready to do something. Like, she's not, bless her heart. You know, she's like, she's
tired of swimming.
She's just been hanging out for too long. She needs to do something. And so I was ready to come back for sure.
Yeah. I feel like I try to put myself in other people's shoes and like their experiences and stuff. I feel like I would be extremely nervous, like coming back, like after 6 weeks, even though I know that everything would be in good hands, you know, and if I did my due diligence, setting everything up and making sure, you know, people knew what was happening and what needed to happen. Yeah. But
I mean, there was probably a little bit of that, because, well, like a lot of people don't know, every time that I had gone on maternity leave, there was a staff change that would happen every time.
Yeah.
And so this was, I mean, just as long as that. And so I was like kind of nervous. I was like, man, what am I going to go back to? Who's going to be like called somewhere else when I come back? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had that going in my brain, because it's like,
yeah, you're right. Whenever you had birth for Anakin,
I'm not having any more. I was like, I'm not having any more babies because every time I do, like, something happens.
Yeah, and whenever you gave birth to Anakin and you were on maternity leave is whenever I got hired on.
Yeah, you got hired on, and also, like, we knew that Michael was going to be stepping down. So my first day back from maternity leave with Anakin, that's when Pastor Scott met with me and asked me about taking this position. And I was like, this is crazy. So, like, you know, there's a new guy I don't really know. You know, I met once at a dinner or whatever we did here. I don't remember.
It was like on a Saturday.
Then, yeah. And, but when I, had Esme, we changed worship leaders. And then when when I had Carter, our lead pastor, he was called somewhere else. And so it was different. So I had a little bit of those thoughts in my mind, like, what's going to be different, or have they totally changed things up? Have they decided to do something like really cool and crazy? Like, you know what I mean? Because there was all that. I know that a lot of people were all over the place from summer. And I think that's the only thing that kept me a little bit calmer, was that, like, everybody wasn't together to like plan any crazy things or like change things up a whole lot, because everybody had camps and had, you know, trips and vacations and all that stuff. But like, but yeah, I was like, I wonder if they've changed anything, like any processes or like, you know, whatever, is where I'm going to come back and do something wrong, but I don't even know that it's wrong.
Yeah.
Because the rule follower in me. But anyway, so there was a little bit of that, but not too much.
I think the only thing that we decided was, like, in the first week that you were out, me and Scott annihilated all the energy drinks that were in your little mini fridge in your office. And that was about it.
Yeah.
I would go in there like on week 2 or week 3 of your sabbatical, and I'm going, I know there's nothing in here, but I just need to check because I'm having like a rough day. Because
oh man, I should have stocked it for y'all before I went.
It's all good.
I did take a couple home because I was like, I think I need a couple to like help me get everything like ready to pack and all that. But
Yeah.
I should have left them in there for you.
So you're back and you're like, okay, in my first week, I'm here for 2 days, but I'm gonna get a rental car and drive all the way to Chicago and go to GLS. For those of you that don't know, that's Global Leadership Summit. And it's hosted by Life Church and Craig Groeschel, and they have leaders from all over, not just church leaders. They have
business leaders.
Like one year they had somebody that was head of creative for Apple and all their design. This year they had Ron Howard, the Academy Award winning director.
Yeah.
And actor as well. I mean, they bring in anybody and everybody that if they can teach you something, they're going to do it. Or if we can learn something from how they do their processes. And it's just great, even though I will never make a movie, it's just great to understand how other people work and how they function.
Yeah.
And, I watched a little bit about him, and he talked a little bit about the importance of loyalty in his speech, which was great. So
yeah, I actually got a lot of really good tidbits from him where I was like, man, this is good stuff. Like for, collaborating, working as a team. And like one of the things Ron Howard did say, I even marked it. Hold on. Maybe. Where's it at? Basically, he said that you need to just believe that you have something to contribute.
Yeah.
Like that it starts with believing that you have something to contribute to the world, to the workplace, to your team members, to, whatever, to your family. And I thought, like, that's so good because so many of us just get stuck in that, like, feeling of we don't have anything, we don't have anything to offer or whatever.
Yeah, I struggle with that often.
Yeah. So. And so, I mean, he just had a lot of really good, like, little tidbits there. But yeah, so Global Leadership Summit is something that we actually hosted it here at Southridge for quite a few years. I think maybe 4 years.
The simulcast. So they broadcast it all over the world, actually.
Right.
But it's always in Chicago, right?
Yeah. So right outside of Chicago, Willow Creek Church is where they host for like the studio audience, the people who are in person, and then other churches and other places. Like this year, they had 200 prisons watching.
That's crazy.
Is that not crazy?
That's an awesome stat, though.
Yeah, and they actually had a story from a man who had been able to watch when he was in prison and had gotten connected with a pastor who had prayed, and he did like a spoken word video testimony. It was so cool. But he shared how like God told him he wasn't going to be in prison, that he was going to be a pastor. And he started a church, and now he helps like other people, like it's like multi-campus now, and he helps other people who are disadvantaged and things, like come up with small business ideas and create small businesses, and it's just awesome. But so I've attended it simulcast here, and then another year when another church right up the road hosted it, and then COVID happened and I haven't been, and I didn't watch online last year. But so they, because of the free tickets and stuff, we were like, yeah, let's go. Who cares? I was like, my cousin lives in Chicago, so we'll go see him while we're up there. It'll be worth it, whatever. But in person was just a totally different level. Like so much energy, so many high quality speakers. Their theme this year was Voice Your Vision. And I've always had this thing about voice and like having your voice and finding your voice. And so when I saw the theme, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see how they, put this into everything. And so, those things just really tied around that. And some of the other personal testimony stories that they shared, like success stories, were just so awesome. And, in our state, we have like a serious foster care crisis. Like we don't have homes for these kids. And there was a girl who shared about she'd entered into the foster care system when she was really young. Her mom was on drugs, and the police came in and arrested her, took the drugs, her, and her first foster home she went into, there were like 10 kids in there. and all that. But by the time she was 18, she'd been to 12 foster homes. It had been put in her file, you know, that she wasn't good for adoption, you know, whatever. But she had a track coach who saw something in her.
Yeah.
And spoke into her that she was a leader and that if she put in the hard work, she could do some great things. And so she ended up getting a full ride to college on a track scholarship. She shared her story on social media. She's married and has a kid now, but she shared her story on social media, and other foster kids began sharing their story. And so it was just really cool hearing all that. But like, one of the things that she said that I was like, that's so powerful. And that is our job, you know, as the church as well, is she said, you know, people say all the time that we should be a voice for the voiceless. She said, but that's not the case, because they already have a voice. It's our job to amplify theirs and to lift theirs up.
That's so good.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like I was bawling. but I was like, it's so good, because that's what we should do. Like, we're supposed to equip and encourage and empower other people to be able to take that message with their own voice, their own vision and purpose that God has spoken into them. Like, if we can do what we're supposed to do to help lift up others, then they can use their voice in the way that God has designed it. And we're going to see great things happen. And so.
Wow. That's such a powerful statement. So good. So good. So, out of all of the speakers that I see you have like a big giant stack of books.
Yeah. And there's 4 more that Jenny and I are splitting that we're sharing, but yeah.
Yeah. So you've got 6 here. So a total of 10. Out of all the speakers, who was the one that you were just like, man, they just keep on hitting me with like nugget after nugget of like just pure gold?
Oh man. Let's see. Which one? There was a chick. Listen, I had to switch notebooks when I started taking notes because there was not enough space in this thing.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed Vanessa Van Edwards. She was probably one of my favorites. And she actually had a story about how, like, she failed with maybe her first 17 books she wrote. I don't know. But then she came out with one, like, after like going into some depression and all of that, her husband just was like, you need to get up and write. And she was like, what am I supposed to write? Everything I've wrote has failed. And he said, well, you keep writing what you think other people want to read. Maybe you should write what you would want to read, what you wished someone had wrote for you. And so she spoke on that, and she shared about 3 levels of connection, and how, there's like level 1, which is like surface, small talk type stuff that you do all the time with people. And then there's, you kind of get their general traits and that type of stuff. And then there's level 2, and that's where you kind of begin to learn like personal concerns and about someone's goals and values and their worries and their motivations and what their personality is. And then there's level 3, which is more of that self-narrative aspect. And so she gave like questions, different types of questions that you can use to help kind of take it to the next level with people.
Yeah.
And how if you do this in the right way, then, you get past that surface level to really understand someone and see like what their self-narrative is, and then help to also like often speak good into that self-narrative. If they have like, they have a victim kind of narrative or whatever, then you can help draw that out and shift that mindset and those kind of things. So I just thought that was really, really good, because I think that that's something that we often miss, like in the workplace and in, church. Like, I feel like we can get stuck on these like level 1 things, and we might make it to level 2, but like getting to that next, like that level where like it's just deeper to the point of you really get them.
Yeah.
It's really pretty simple, but very effective when you do it the right way, and can really open up the doors to minister, to be who they need to be. I don't have her book here. That's one of the ones that Jenny has right now. But
well, hurry up, Jenny.
Yeah, so she's got this book called Cues, Master the Secret Language of Charismatic Communication. Wow, can't even say that. But one of the big questions that they found, like when they did their research and stuff, was that like the question, "What's your story?"
Yeah,
is what really, I mean, that's what gets to the self narrative, and because how they see themselves is how they're gonna kind of share their story. And it'll play into the pieces that they share and that kind of stuff. But I laughed because she said, if you ask an introvert this, they're going to be like, oh, what's my story? Well, I have to go to the bathroom right now. Like, you know what I mean? They'll like hide. They don't want it. You have to slowly get them in it. But an extrovert, it's like, how much time do you have? Like, how much do you want to know? And I was like, I laughed so hard because that's me and Jenny. Like Jenny and I, the first time that we went to hang out, and she's like, I need to share my story with you. Because I was asking her to help with women's ministry stuff here at the time. And we were at Outback for almost 6 hours.
What?
Yeah.
I'd have been so mad if I was your server.
Oh, we tipped really, really good. And actually, we like tipped and cashed out with the one. And then we left another tip for whoever cleaned up after us. But yeah, we, I mean, they were still open while we were there. But yeah, we each told our stories for quite a while. So we just couldn't help but laugh about it because we're like, yep, that is definitely us. But I love Craig Rochelle. He's always fantastic. And he kind of kicked it off, and then there was a guy, Johnny C. Taylor. He went from like being a lawyer, like a really successful lawyer, to going into human resources, which is crazy. But he talked on empathy and how we really have this crisis in our culture today where there's such a lack of empathy. Yep. And that like COVID really didn't help that any. And so he talked about that and some ways that we can exercise our empathy muscles and those kind of things. And so I thought that was a really, really great talk as well. Judah Smith, he's a bit interesting and different if you're not used to him, but he's a pastor at Church Home in Washington, like Seattle kind of area. I don't know. It's a different place. It's the northern
eastern coast.
It's that way. Yes. But he brought out a different side of the story of the woman who had the issue of blood, who was bleeding for 12 years that I don't know that I've ever heard before. And it's one of my favorite stories. And I was just like floored because I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't see that part of it. But one of the things that he said that I tagged here to share was he said, you only lead to the level that you live, not to the level that you look. And I think that was fantastic because he talked a lot, like he kind of mentioned about, there have been a lot of moral failures among leaders and church leaders even, and those kind of things. And like how we tend to think we need to look a certain way or act a certain way or be a certain way. But getting back to like that empathy and like getting deeper with the story and things like that, there's always something below the surface that people don't see and don't know about. And like, but we feel like we need to hide that all. And Vanessa Van Edwards talked about, she called it the swan effect, because on the top, like on the surface, they look like they're just gliding like so smooth and these graceful creatures, but under the surface, I mean, they're going hardcore like with those feet. And just like, that's often how we feel like we need to portray ourselves as a leader, especially a church leader, and remembering that like, it's not always about how we look. It's how we live. It's really like taking those things and putting it into action and just being real and transparent. So overall 10 out of 10, like one of the best decisions besides sabbatical that you've made this year. Yeah. I mean, just, oh yeah. I think that people don't understand the importance of, if you want to be a leader or if you are in leadership, is learning how to become a better leader.
and taking that time to learn and to grow, and take these little tidbits. There's no shame in hearing from somebody else on how they do things or how they approach situations, and trying to apply it for yourselves. I think it's like one of the things that I say all the time. I'll never get mad or upset at someone for trying. But I want you to at least put the effort and try.
Right.
Like I say it to my kids all the time. I say it to people on the worship team. Like if this is something that you really want, like you got to put the effort in and try.
Yeah.
If you want, if you want to become a better basketball player, you've got to put in the time and the practice, and you've got to try.
Yeah.
If you want to become a better singer, you've got to put the time and the practice, and wake up early in the morning, do some vocal warm-ups, listen to techniques or somebody else or whatever. What should I be eating? What should I be drinking? And just kind of become like hyper obsessed with what you want to be good at.
Yeah.
And take the time to grow. I like your notebook, by the way.
Oh, yes. So I didn't take a notebook with me to the beach.
Yeah.
Because I guess maybe I didn't think that it would happen that fast, or I don't know. I wasn't thinking. And so night one, I had that dream, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have a notebook. I need to get a notebook.
You had a dream about Star Wars?
No.
Oh, okay.
But it was the dream where God spoke to me something
Southridge
really
is
good.
going
and
to space.
So I went to go find a notebook, and I went into this little shop, and Vera Bradley has all the different prints and all that stuff. I don't know if maybe some of you know what that is, but they do all kinds of different prints and cloth things and whatever, and it's like a big deal to a lot of people, but I could care less about that. But they had these really cute notebooks, and they had a whole Star Wars line. So it's Star Wars, but Vera Bradley. And I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. Carter wanted it. He was with me, but I told him he couldn't because I had flowers on it.
Yeah.
On it. So anyway, but if y'all don't know, we're kind of Star Wars fans. We named our kid Anakin. And if you don't know about that, then you need to go watch the Star Wars stuff and get educated.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Rabbit Trail.
Yep.
That's me.
Hey.
It's what I do.
It's cool.
But what I was saying is just put in the time and the effort if you want to become good at something, especially leadership, if you want to just not be stagnant with your organization and try to get things jump started and moving forward. And it just takes discipline. I think one of the things that I've mentioned before here, and if I haven't, I'll just remind or just say it, is that it's really easy to create momentum. I think that it's real easy to get people excited and moving in a direction. The hard part is sustaining momentum.
Yeah.
And you're finding that out just by going to the gym. I can go 1 week and I'm just going to be doing really well. But the longer that you go to the gym, you're like, man, it's hard to keep this momentum going. And it's just having that discipline just to say, I know that because of this discipline that I'm creating, I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to be better for my kids and for my husband. But also, like, if I want to become a better guitar player, I've got to take the time to say, you know what, this is going to be the pits. I could be spending this time, just doing something, but I know that in the long run, it's gonna pay off. Like with me becoming a better guitar player. Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to that whole core value we have that y'all talked about last week. Yeah. That we never stop growing. Yep. And we have to have that humility enough to say, I still can take it to the next level. Like, I'm not at the best I can be.
Correct.
Having confidence in your abilities, but also having that humility to know that there's still stuff that you can learn. There's still something different that you can, find or take, and that there are still other people that you can learn from, whether they've been doing it longer than you or not as long as you. Like, there are very talented, very intelligent people in the world. And if we would just glean from others' wisdom a little bit more, then we would probably do a lot better in a lot of things.
Yep. So good. Are you ready for your mystery meat?
Yes.
All right.
Please don't be song related.
Please don't be song related. Yeah, we were talking about this
that
before.
We're not good. I'm not a good song knowing person.
Uh-oh. You weren't here, but I've put a whole bunch of would you rather questions in
gosh.
here.
Okay.
So, just whatever. I'll tighten that later. All right. I feel like I've asked this, but I don't know. What mythical creature would improve the world the most if it existed?
Unicorns. Just kidding.
Dude, whenever you said that, the first thing that popped in my mind was that Squatty Potty commercial. Have you seen those?
No.
Do you know what the Squatty Potty is?
I do.
You should go look it up.
The commercial?
Yeah. Not right now. But
No, that's fun.
I mean, you should go watch it because it has unicorns in it.
So that's the like stool thing, right?
Yeah,
like
it's the stool to help prop your legs up.
I believe Pastor Scott has one in his house.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Don't know if everybody heard that. You were
No,
meant
they
to,
did because
but-
you got really close to the microphone and covered it.
Sorry, I'll just share random facts about staff at times, but no unicorns. I mean,
What about unicorns are going to make the world a better place?
I think they'd make people smile, like, and be like, what? Like, miracles can happen. Like, things can exist that I dreamed of. Like, sorry, my daughter's really into unicorns, so I have to. And, like, the one book that we have, like, they're like, they could possibly shrink in size. They could fart glitter. They could,
What?
their unicorn or their horn shines. Like, I don't know. It's a silly book, like How to Catch a Unicorn, and we read it all the time. So that's just in my brain.
Yeah.
And, yep.
What mythical creature?
I mean, can you imagine, like, you're trying to do like a fun decorative card and you put the glue on it and then it's like, all right.
I fed my unicorn beans last night. That's so bad. What are we doing? What are we doing here? I feel like we've lost it.
You're welcome.
We've lost it. We've officially lost it. I don't even know. I don't even know what mythical creature I could come up with that would make any sense. I think that's why they're mythical, is because I don't know.
Centaurs, fairies, what all, like, there's all kinds.
What mythical creature? Would it have to be like an animal?
I don't think so.
Mythical creature. I mean, that does creatures
like,
kind of fall underneath like animals. So like a mythical animal.
I mean,
But like a genie wouldn't fall underneath.
A fairy's not a person. It's a fairy. It's different. It's a creature. It's a living thing, but it's not a human.
Yeah.
Anything not human, not fully human. There you go.
So like a genie. A genie is a mythical creature.
There you go.
That could, if a whole bunch of people got 3 wishes, that'd be pretty awesome. Would have like,
We're too greedy and selfish for that.
well, only one person has to.
I mean,
only one
just
person
go
has
back
to
to Aladdin, okay? What do people always want? Power, money,
Yeah.
whatever,
Love.
and more power.
More wishes.
Yes.
Yeah, they want more wishes.
Yeah. So
It only takes one person though to end world hunger.
but would someone waste one wish on that? That's just a question we have to
I would.
ask. Yeah, definitely. But I mean,
would.
Goodness, but would we be able to sustain that? Who knows? Centaurs are pretty cool.
I don't know. They always have bows and arrows.
That's kind of cool.
No, it's not.
They'd win all the archery competition. I mean, could you imagine, like, we got the centaur on our archery team?
All right.
Only weirdo that.
That's enough for today.
I've been serious too much in this office today, so there you go.
We've had so many
because
meetings.
I've just had lots of weeks of not having to be like serious.
Yeah.
And then you give me like this leadership, whatever stuff. And so this is what you get at the end.
It's
with
all
your
good.
mystery meat. What kind of meat would a
Centaur eat?
That's exactly what I was
Mystery meat. No, it's so good to have you back. Really appreciate you. And pretty much you set us up for success before you left, and then coming back and just kind of jumping back in the scheme of things. And it's good to have your husband back. He's a really good friend of mine. I love seeing your kids around here, but yeah, excited to hear more whenever you're ready to share. You're not going to write a book, are you?
Maybe.
Okay. Am I a good guesser or am I not a good guesser?
I mean, you're a good guesser. Well, yeah. So
don't go. We'll no, that's it for today.
No, wait. I have something. It's a short joke-ish related. Okay.
Okay.
So John Acuff is not very tall. Do you know who John Acuff? Yeah, you know. Well,
yeah.
We did that with the thing. So he's really not very tall. And
is he like your height?
I mean, he's not much taller than me. I don't know how tall he is, but like he's really like not that tall, and he gets the jokes a lot, but and I couldn't help it because I had taken pictures or like been around Jenny all day and Mark Sundstrom, our old lead pastor, and they're both like giants compared to me. And so I get this picture with him and I'm like, thank you so much for being more along my height. And he says, you're welcome. I did that for you. I was like, oh man, he probably hates me right now. But it was so good to be able to, like, I don't know, be around my people. Who knows? Anyway, that's what I'll leave you with.
It's all good. I'm glad you had a good time. Hey, thank you so much for listening today. If share this with somebody. We had a good time today. Share this with somebody that maybe needs to hear some of the truths and the ideas and the conversations that we had. They're always super beneficial. And catch us next week as we dive into a new episode of the Pastor's Potluck with Pastor Scott. Y'all have a good weekend. We'll see you later. Thank you so much for listening in with us today. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and you can also watch the video version of this on YouTube as well. All you have to do is search up the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. From all of us here, we want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.